Hello, my name is Lauren Kettenhoffen, and the title of my project is The Effect of Seated versus Standing Cycling Positions on Peak Power Output. I would like to note that this is just a research proposal, so it is just a literature review. The Wingate anaerobic test is a 30-second submaximal exercise test which is performed on a cycloergometer, and it measures peak power a person can produce during the 30-second duration. Usually, the seated position is used during the Wingate, and the person is told to remain seated the whole 30 seconds. But with most professional cyclists, you see them using the standing position to achieve more power, whether it's going uphill or speeding up. So, this means that maybe the standing position allows somebody to achieve more power. So, they should be used on the Wingate rather than just trying the traditional seated position. The purpose of this study was to compare the results in power output on a Wingate test between standing and seated position on a cycloergometer. 10 college-aged males from UTA volunteered to participate in this study. 2 Wingate tests were done by each participant, and they performed either in a seated or standing position, and the order of the testing was randomized. Once they got to the lab, the seat height on the bike was adjusted to fit the participant, and then they were told that they would complete the 30 seconds in either the standing or the seated position. Then they began to warm up for 2 minutes around 60 RPMs. Once they were told to go, they pedaled as hard as they could and the resistance was applied. And they did this for 30 seconds. And they had to stay in the same position during the whole 30-second duration, whether it was seated or standing. And once the 30 seconds were done, they slowed down in order to cool down. And the second visit was done a week later at the same time as the first, but they repeated the Wingate in the other position that they didn't do in the first visit. The results of this study showed that a standing position on the Wingate did lead to a higher output of peak power, which suggests that the instructions used for the traditional Wingate should be revised. Most professional cyclists use a standing position, but even the average person can achieve a higher power output using the standing position. The standing position is also more efficient and beneficial on a cycloergometer at high power levels, which is what is done in the Wingate test. However, it is recommended that further research be conducted to determine the consistency of this finding. It is unclear how power output will be affected in a test that's longer than 30 seconds. These are my references. Thank you so much for listening.